to communicate, and I won't deny. She's got me hooked now, I can't tell wrong from right. I can't decide if she worth it or should I stop trying. She keeps my foot in her door, just enough to be sure. I come begging for more, then she turns me down. I can't deny, she's got me hooked now. I can't tell wrong from right.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here at Lal Park. Just me and good ol' LS here, waiting for the next series. We sat in these chairs for the last hour and 20 minutes and did absolutely nothing, just excited, waiting for the next match, which is, of course, going to be T1 up against SANDBOX. T1 coming in as the favorites on paper, as they are one of the top-rated teams so far alongside Gen G. But we'll have to wait and see if SANDBOX will just go down without a fight or what they can do up against this strong team.
Well, SANDBOX has obviously been, they've been plummeting. And I'm not making a reference to Summit there, but you know,
no, yeah,
they've really just been falling
yeah,
so hard. And the only thing that I feel like that anyone even looks forward to paying attention to is actually Summit on the team, because they just look completely lost. Even when they have had advantages, they find ways to punt it away. And it's just so concerning for them as, again, we're nearing the second half of the split. As we take a look at some of the points of the match, 5-match win streak. T1 can get the 7th win and solidify on top of the standings today. So obviously they're looking forward to trying to accomplish that. 2019 Kespa Cup semifinals rematch. SANDBOX did bring them down there. And SANDBOX has not looked anything like their performance in the Kespa Cup, so that is going to be something. Son of Andong, kind of stacking up the EXP so fast. How will he play into Summit, the carry role of SANDBOX? And I think that there's so many neutralizing top lane picks right now, I don't think that we really have to worry about Kana in general. And 1985 kills. Faker is 15 away from his 2,000 kill mark.
Yeah, and he has the most kills by far in the LCK. I think the next closest was like 1,600 kills, and it was someone who was retired, and then like Def was number 3 with like 1,500. As we are going to take a look here at the first 2,000 kills for Faker so far, and exactly how he has gotten these kills and in which seasons. I was actually quizzing you earlier on just as a kind of fun thing, and you picked two of the two of the ones where he got the least amount of kills, but we're not going to mention that. 2017 was the most for spring, and 2015 summer was the most for a summer season. Winter was abolished. It became not a season in 2014.
That's sad.
Yeah.
I miss winter. I like how they give it the honorable mention.
Yeah, they just mention it there, and that was it. That was the end, the one time.
Winter should still be... You know what? They should just call Kespa Cup winter.
Kespa, yeah, well, that's what it feels like, as that's really the only league that goes on here in winter.
Team stats. And KDA T1 is 2nd in the league. And SANDBOX at 5th, which is, you know, not that bad given their current standing in the league and also the manner in which they've been losing. Dragon percentage, 55.9%, actually puts T1 at 2nd. Dragon Soul percent, T1 is 3rd at 60. Obviously, SANDBOX losing games probably does not give you the best Dragon Soul percent, so not very surprised there. Win rate with Dragon Soul, though. Obviously, it is a really scary thing to lose with Dragon Soul, but context always matters.
Yeah.
on which Dragon Soul it is.
It's hard to know just by, 6 out of 6 and 3 out of 5. It offers no other information. As the last time T1 played on Wednesday, they looked unbelievable. They looked really, really strong. And Faker had his LeBlanc twice in a row. He got LeBlanc 2 more wins. LeBlanc currently 8-0, by the way, in the LCK.
Yeah.
And if they don't ban LeBlanc, I don't know what they're thinking, as they, Faker just made it what should be a permaban against him, I would imagine. As Kana also had a pop-off performance. We were talking a lot about his rookie performance and how he's able to come in here and be such a just consistent player already for the side of T1, even though he's so new to the league. As this was an incredibly close fight. Griffin was ahead in this game, but it just didn't matter as they were able to team fight better, T1.
Summit in this highlight right here, and he's really going to just be the player to watch because T1's weak side is SANDBOX's only side in this series. So if Summit can end up getting large enough advantages, we can see what may be able to transpire on Fleek with a nice little pickup right there. Also, we do have to check who's going to be starting today for SANDBOX down there in the bot lane, as we've had some different variations down in bot. And yeah, key player matchup. Kana actually first in KDA in the league. Summit
For top laners.
Yeah. 2.6. Fourth in the league. Damage per minute. Summit up there extremely high. Obviously been on the better end of some champion matchups, so obviously that's going to inflate the stat as well. And CS differential at 15, first in the league, is pretty nice.
He is really good at his lane, no doubt. There's no question about that. For Summit, obviously. It's interesting that he's 2.6 KDA, but that's 4th best out of top laners. I suppose our top laners aren't doing that well overall. He also has more deaths than kills, but obviously a lot of assists to back that up to make that KDA higher than 1. And yeah, I think this is definitely has to be the key player because Kana did have a pop-off performance on Wednesday, but also Summit is Summit.
Yeah.
I feel like SANDBOX sometimes stands for Summit and the boys. It's like Summit and the rest of them. As sometimes it feels that way when we watch them play.
Yeah. Effort, Teddy, Faker, Cuz, and Kana is going to be the starting lineup for T1 here today, as we're about to have one of our questions answered once we see who is starting on the side of SANDBOX.
Yeah, keeping it a secret.
Keeping it a secret. Finally.
Oh, it's Summit.
Oh, man.
Oh. Wait,
Summit.
So it's not Lonely today? Lonely is their sub top laner. Nobody knows that.
Lonely's
because
never, well, because he's lonely.
he's lonely. He never gets to play with his friends. Feels bad, man. He probably plays a Mumu top,
You
too.
are such a joker. You're such a joker. Wow.
Wow.
Dub, Leo, and Gorilla. There's no Joker here today.
Yeah.
Except for you.
I see what you did there.
You see what I did there?
Yeah, Joker's here, but he's not in the lineup.
Yeah, I think it was fate that rooted us here.
Okay. All right.
Linguist Supreme
Yeah.
here on the desk.
Linguistics student. There you go.
Well,
I
on
just
Fleek,
recycled your joke.
thank
How
you.
like it?
At least you're recycling. I can tell that
Yeah.
you definitely.
I'm responsible
You definitely
for
are.
the environment of
Yeah.
our words. And yeah, we're just about to hop into things here. There's significantly less downtime because we skip the players walking in. We don't get the cool showdown with the fans cheering for them. I wonder when that will come back in. Will it come back in for spring? Is a question.
That will be a
I hope
question.
so.
Well, the way that the coronavirus is right now in Korea, the numbers just keep inflating. 3 days ago it was at 700, and now it's at over 2,000.
Yeah.
So it's
Monka W.
Yeah, it's a bit Monka W. Good news though. I believe the mortality rate is under 1%.
Yes, and
there is tens of thousands, I think, of tested cases
true
so far.
And unfortunately, the older you get, well, I suppose fortunately for some, but less fortunate for others, the older you get, the more susceptible you are to potentially having that virus do some lethal damage. So either way, guys, we are going to go into the game. T1 up against SANDBOX, starting off with multiple jungle bans here.
And T1 with Elise and Trundle getting banned away. SANDBOX with the Rek'Sai is a little bit peculiar, as we'll see what their second ban is. Probably has to be Ornn Soraka. I don't think you can give away either one of them to... Okay, we're going to have one of them being given away here, as we have some... We have a questionable ban coming out of SANDBOX.
I mean, Rek'Sai looks kind of scary.
She does, doesn't she?
Yeah.
I think it's really in the dental work.
Yeah, I don't know what those fangs from the bottom are doing.
Yeah, they're
probably
definitely
can
a little...
pull those in a little bit, you know?
I think that she modeled that after seeing the movie Predator. She was actually a very big fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, Ornn ban here by T1.
That's... I don't know why you would ever ban Ornn on blue, unless you think that you're getting mind-gamed by SANDBOX and that they would allow both Ornn and Soraka, in which case you still just pick Soraka. And then you get the free win. SANDBOX, they might not ban her.
Well, they're going to ban Senna, so there's no Senna first pick. Senna Tahm Kench has looked incredibly powerful here in the LCK so far, so the teams understandably are still scared of it, as Soraka is not something that T1 are scared of playing against, as they will pick the Olaf instead.
So the Olaf B1, if they can manage to get B2, B3 Yuumi Soraka, I suppose it's okay, but if you wanted to do that, you should B1 Soraka and then B2, B3 Olaf Yuumi. And calling a spade, there's no other way around this. It's just a blunder regardless of if T1 win this game or not. It's so much easier to draft around the Olaf and beat him in a vacuum. So now maybe we can have Ezreal Yuumi come out here for T1, and that would give them a lot of synergy, as well as just sort of still concealing everything else.
Or Xin Zhao in the top lane. No, I'm just kidding. It is most likely going to be Ezreal Yuumi, as Ezreal will be locked in here at the last moment. Teddy's Ezreal. It's it's pretty good. He's only played one game of it so far, but it is a win. He's played 11 games of MF, so they actually deny that pick away from him in a sense. Now, I don't... Okay, so that was the only other pick that I was considering they might pick, and it's because Faker's LeBlanc is just so strong. I mean, he's unbelievable on the pick. We saw it on Wednesday. He's 3-0, but that does leave the Yuumi available.
It does leave Yuumi available. Kassadin is not a champion that I'll almost ever talk about that often. He's in a pretty rough spot right now, but the stars have sort of aligned for him right here. He would be... there's a very high chance that he could come in for SANDBOX if they're considering him, because he's very good against the B1 through B3 picks by T1.
Yeah, I feel like we have to get through, you know, Ornn first pick and stop buying so many Morellos and so many other different phases before we hit the phase where we even consider picking Kassadin in LCK.
And now, Lucian being banned away by SANDBOX is a little surprising as well. Soraka is able to beat Lucian, also able to get very good value out of Ninja Tabai early on against both the Lucian and the Olaf. So there's definitely some stuff going on in the ban phase here, as Ryze does bite the dust, so T1 is respecting the LeBlanc counters to an extent. Victor banned away, and obviously that's a mage that you can take into top lane that is very good against Soraka. I don't believe Kana can play top Syndra, but that's another mage that is very good against Soraka.
You'd have an insane amount of burst damage in your composition as well. Just think about Ezreal, LeBlanc, Syndra. If you if you get ahead with that kind of comp, it might just be lights out from there. But I do agree. I don't think Kana's going to be piloting that one here.
So Yuumi is still open, and they didn't ban it away, and it's hard to imagine what else T1 would want to pair the Ezreal with. Maybe when they see the Syndra, Nautilus is... well, Nautilus was actually banned away by T1. So I just feel like at this point it's very hard to imagine another support that you would ideally want against this SANDBOX lineup. Are they self-counterpicking or what?
Atlas got so tilted by this yesterday. I'm glad I get to play with two
From the
casters.
B1 Olaf to the B4 set, I don't know what is more of a hot mess. Not that Faker might not be able to still carry this to victory. Okay, so it's not the Yuumi, it's actually the bread and butter old combo of the Ezreal Karma. And so now actually Yuumi could come in for SANDBOX, and it wouldn't be that bad.
Gorilla considering a more aggressive approach, as Thresh is going to be locked in.
And, this draft took a lot of twists and turns, Valdez, and I am so glad to have you here with me.
We got to experience it together.
Syndra was picked up to go up against Faker's LeBlanc, and that is a matchup that, at the highest levels, it is Syndra favor. But Dub versus Faker, I think that there is a large enough discrepancy that, due to the dynamics of the matchup, I would be pretty confident Faker can just overcome it, obviously.
Yeah.
And then there's more going on inside of this game. The Soraka is so valuable against T1's lineup altogether that they're going to really need to stomp lane and rely on their individual skill to beat SANDBOX here, because the draft in a vacuum, it's much weaker than SANDBOX's, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen that before. We saw it earlier today, actually, when APK was not able to win with a somewhat stronger draft. And we'll see if SANDBOX on the back of this. Keep in mind that Summit's also on Soraka, which is not necessarily a hard carry in lane kind of champion that he plays pretty often. So will be a bit of a different look for Summit, helping out the team with a different type of hyper carry, as it looks like we're ready to hop onto the Rift here for game number 1. T1 up against SANDBOX. Match 36. As you've mentioned multiple times tonight, we're getting close to the halfway point of spring season already.
We'll see if Faker can come up with the 15 kills here tonight to cross the 2,000 record mark. And we can break down the team comps again. So at the later stages of the game, the Soraka will keep scaling all the way up to 6 items. The set's going to stop being any different, basically 2.5 items past. LeBlanc is still going to nuke champions, but once the magic resistances start coming in, it's going to be a lot harder for her. And obviously Soraka builds Athene, she builds Spirit Visage, and the Syndra likely going to get a Banshee's Veil. Lee Sin, we'll see what he ends up getting for MR, but the misfortune, Soraka and Syndra, at the mid to late stage scenario is going to be so scary. And then obviously Olaf need not introduction for how hard he falls off.
They're standing on a ward, all 5 of them, and they do not know it because they scanned earlier. Teddy, by the way, 300 games. He has over 1,000 kills in 300 games. Keep that in mind as the re-invade is coming in here from the side of SANDBOX.
And this is a little brutal potentially for Summit, depending on how this goes, because he doesn't have teleport.
It's gonna reset here, I think. Yeah. Hook comes down, but a big Master Q and a huge pull-in onto two of them, plus an axe. T1 will win the skirmish. Although no blood is drawn, it will be that first blue going over to Cuz.
T1's going to pick it up for free, and just take a look at this. Kana, he's going to start this game with such an insane lead. He teleports back up to top lane. He's the first one to get all the XP. Now, fortunately for Summit, though, the RNG is in his favor. More of his minions are alive. And so he's gonna get back up to top lane. Kana will not have his teleport. Also, fleet footwork on the set to sort of sustain through Soraka's poke, because the matchup is really brutal for Set.
Yeah, it is. And you were talking about Kassadin earlier on. He's a guy that loves his fleet footwork as well, just for sustaining against poke in the mid lane. Could be a similar idea. Faker, by the way, 20-2 in the LCK alone. By the way, he's played LeBlanc many times outside of the LCK and won a lot of games there as well. But already 3-0 for this season on this one champion. Cuz going to come in here and help push, actually, which is something that we saw yesterday out of Griffin, I believe it was. Just trying to shut down the bottom lane. But they're not going to elect to go for any kind of dives, even though their bottom lane did push in successfully. So not exactly going to pull off the same thing.
And so they do that just to offset some of the pressure that is present. Faker, 1 corrupting potion left against 2. Also full HP, full mana. Dove obviously at 50% mana right now. And the Karma just has such value down here against the Thresh as well.
I was about to ask you, how do you feel about that pick of Thresh into the Karma?
Well, I mean, like I said, Valdez, a lot of things went awry inside of the draft phase for both of these teams. More poke coming out.
I mean, we're immediately seeing the effects of their quote-unquote counter pick.
And don't forget that Gorilla started this game by not having flash available.
True.
Ezreal has his heal. Cleanse available on Karma as well. On Fleek is at 3 camps, so we're all sinners.
Yeah, I mean, Onfleek also had to actually recall as he took a ton of damage, and then he had to do his own red unleashed. So, of course, he is having a really rough time himself. Just that early invade got T1 a nice little comfortable lead. And they're just kind of waiting back on it. Seems like the top lane is going okay so far for Kana.
And at this point, on Fleek, he gets the right-hand side Scuttle Crab. I don't know what Dove's doing. Dove is... he's migrating south for the winter.
Oh, okay, yeah,
See
it is
that?
pretty cold.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that his 3 autos would have really helped get that down sooner. It was actually quite close, to be honest. There was a chance that if he didn't get those 3 autos off, that perhaps Onfleek would have been late on killing the red. But overall, kind of an odd position there as Faker is going for a little bit of a roam here. Not going to visit the top lane or anything like that, just decides he's going to get some vision over there.
So right now, the lane phase is basically going about as expected everywhere. Obviously, Summit a bit down in the CS department due to the initial opening. Cuz is going to walk over the consumed Scuttle Crab, place a pink ward into the brush before going into it, and so actually going to end up wasting his pink ward.
Oh, Death Sentence just out of range there for Gorilla. Nice little trade taken once again by Teddy and Effort in the bottom lane.
Faker. Yeah. Effort, I mean, he's doing a pretty good job, though, with all the poke harass that he's dishing out. Teddy's up 19 CS right now, also has the lane in a favorable state.
He's going to get Death Sentence here, but it ends up turning out to be a better trade for them, even though it started off as an engage from the side of SANDBOX. They just take too much poke damage, and after that win, Cuz says, well, thank you very much. I like Infernal Drake.
Yeah. My
team likes Infernal Drake. Let's go ahead and try to take it down. Cuz might have to flash here. Effort has cleanse, actually.
And you can see Cuz does not want to flash. Obviously waiting to see if maybe the Thresh and the Lee Sin would end up backing off, but does not. And Dove, he has a pretty good lane state right now, a giant minion wave on his side. Faker was trying to get the CS. And yeah, I mean, everything is just basically going completely standard right now. The Olaf very far ahead of the Lee Sin at this point in the game. Swiftness boots actually picked up for Set in top lane. Has a lot of value against Soraka's Q. And this is typically something that you would want to do against Soraka if you're going to be planning to try to set up a dive or actually just kill her outright. But no Executioners actually picked up, so we'll see how he can actually manage to try to wither down Summit in top lane. As down in bot lane, Teddy just casually up 20 CS currently.
Yeah.
Still has the lane in a favorable state. Kana gets tagged right there by the Q. It's not the end of the world, as Cuz is now starting the Rift Herald, and everything is just going very slow. So this is very akin to the APK game earlier on today against Dragon X, where the scaling team comp is, for the most part, going sort of even though obviously they're suffering some losses in bot lane as well as jungle. We'll have to see what it ends up meaning as we get into the mid game.
I mean, as you mentioned also, it comes down to how the lanes go. In the LCK, there's not necessarily that many times where you just lose lanes straight up, but up against a strong team like T1, especially a strong laning team like T1, I mean, Teddy and Effort have turned out to be a surprisingly strong duo as Effort got stronger and stronger himself. Teddy obviously needs not much of a mention. As little trade here, OnFleek was looking for some helping, but he's only level 5, so not going to do too much. Level 5 up against the level 7 of Cuz, who is just power farming right now. He's at 65 CS. So just really trying to knock down all those waves as fast as possible.
And Faker still ahead in the CS department after everything that ended up transpiring, as Dove not really making the most use out of this laning phase, but also he is playing with a compromised jungler due to the early start and just how far behind the Lee Sin is. SANDBOX trying to look for something. Not going to end up finding it.
They're spotted coming into the jungle, by the way. Their control ward doesn't deny that. So a bunch of burst damage, or poke damage, I should say, onto OnFleek and Dove here. They're going to have to go back towards the mid lane. And T1 did not try to collapse on them. Just looking to take some trades here. Q a little bit early there. Baker able to dodge out on that one.
And you can see Kana, with those swiftness boots, able to stick a lot harder than he otherwise should be able to. And then again, because of Summit's itemization right now, no Chalice there to replenish the mana. So Summit a bit starved on mana. He's going to need relief from OnFleek to come top and bail him out of this wave. Soccer just wants a hug.
Yeah, she's desperately trying to stop Kana from attacking the turret, but Kana doesn't really seem to care all that much. Picked up the refillable, rather, so he's able to sustain quite nicely. Just hang out there, and no kill to start off, but just little wins here and there for the side of T1. So it's going to be either mountain or ocean, so no Cloud Soul. That does come out here.
Well, that's good news, Valdez.
Yeah.
Means that we get an exciting Dragon Soul. Now, the most exciting would actually just be Ocean, especially if T1 could end up picking it up, because then Soraka would get a taste of her own medicine.
Yeah.
That would be quite nice.
And Ocean Soul, as we have said many times before, is the most powerful. I don't know if I would go as far as to say as by far, but it's definitely the most powerful, and it's obvious.
Yeah.
The people just don't die. You have to immediately compensate by getting anti-healing items, which in general maybe you shouldn't pick up. But once that Ocean Soul hits, you're not going to be in a good time, as On Fleek also is having to flash away, as he is just having a really hard time here in the jungle, gets hunted down in his own side. The slow comes in from Effort now, but the stun onto the LeBlanc will be enough. There's still no first blood in this one, but the Cloud Drake is live in T1. Looks like they had their eyes on it, but they're going to summon Shelly here in the jungle. Looks like that timer was probably running out. That will begin to push down on the bottom side. They can use this pressure to try to get on top of the Drake, or even to try to put pressure on the bottom lane, as On Fleek looking to go for the play is going to miss, but Ragnarok does come in.
Gorilla goes wide, obviously, with that hook, but not going to be able to follow up on it even if he did land it. T1 are just in such a commanding position with how disjointed SANDBOX are right now. They do have Wish on Soraka available. I'm not quite sure what her mana is right now. It's very low. Not even sure if she's able to cast it.
She's spending all of it, actually, to just trade against Kana. Kana really, you know, he'll be able to back. He has TP. That harass is not going to be enough to push him out of the lane for now, as it looks like he's actually going for a Honey Fruit.
Yeah.
Instead of backing, so he wants to keep up the pressure in the top lane.
And we can just really hope here as well that, well, Faker actually staying in lane as well. By the way, he has the Lost Chapter, and then he has a Ruby Crystal, and I think we know where this is going. But it's not going to be that bad.
Morellonomicon?
Yeah. Morellonomicon will come in.
Yeah. And it looks like there was no orb on the ground for the stun. So the Scout of the Week actually didn't really do anything, unless it was visually bugged in the brush, which is possible. Either way, Faker gets away. It's so hard to lock down a LeBlanc. Doesn't matter if you get her in a death sentence. You have to have so many follow-up CCs. And then you have enough damage to burst her through her passage.
And Gorilla's recall just going to end up being denied there by Teddy. On Fleek, managing, and you said he's blind. Ridiculous. Well, he kind of is. He just used something similar to what Dolphins use.
He walked in a straight line.
He could.
He didn't know it was coming.
He used echolocation.
It's possible.
On the, yeah.
Years of training.
Yeah, well, how many years?
I haven't read the lore. You're the lore specialist on the desk, so I leave that to you, as that's not my area of specialty. Trade here by Faker. No Merc Treads or anything were picked up by Dove, so he's actually just taking full damage, but so far Faker doesn't have all that much damage, so the burst combo isn't doing crazy amounts just yet.
And we're just going basically tit for tat absolutely everywhere in this game. Also want to point out Kana, a bit of a savant.
Ooh.
He is building Trinity Force.
You know, this guy just makes smart item choices.
Yeah, he does.
He goes Swifty Boots, and then he goes into Trinity Force.
He's a bit of a thinker.
And they have reasons behind them. He's not just going into the recommended menu and saying...
I think we know what the TNT1 stands for. Thinking.
Oh, thinking one.
Yeah.
But there's 5 of them. There's 5 players.
Hive Mind.
On T1. Oh!
Yeah,
the Thinking Collective.
The Thinking Collective.
Just like the Collective.
Much like the Collective.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, are we going to have a first blood? Are we going to break records here? I think we had this last week where the first blood, slowest first blood record was broken at like 24 minutes or something. So we still have about 8 minutes to go, guys.
now, I did an episode of Summoning Insight recently, and we were on it. We actually talked about the olden days of No Rush 20 in StarCraft. And that's looking like what it is right now, is definitely No Rush 20, so we're not allowed to fight until the 20-minute mark is up. So as I turn the page here, I do see a fight is brewing in about 22.5 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
So SANDBOX are just going to let the Mountain Drake go.
They're going to let that one go, yeah.
But then for the soul, they'll say,
They'll say
not soul fast.
Not yeah.
Yeah, you can call me
No.
little freak. That's me.
All right.
Oh boy, I feel like such a weird champ after doing that. Oh. Well, we have that bottom lane actually just kind of going even, which in general is good for the Soraka.
Ooh.
Flash comes in, bullet time, and Faker doesn't seem to care, as Wish is a pretty good ability.
Her HP. Oh.
Okay, but now there's no Wish, and he's going to say, well, you done goofed? Or he's going to try to say that
The
here.
great
Can he,
chase.
can he actually chase her down? The answer is no.
Summit. Looking like Floyd Mayweather right there. Dodging the trip.
He's got that footwork going.
You really got to appreciate the balancing on Summit because you see the fruit on the top of Soraka's head and none of it fell off right
Yeah.
there.
Oh, wow.
Really, just honestly,
That's
he's going for the
impressive.
gold medal at
That's
the Olympics.
impressive.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you said there was going to be a fight at 22 minutes, but we might have it sooner as the Mountain Drake is live. SANDBOX really trying to make a case for themselves to come in here, but Wish is down, bullet time's down, no teleport on Leo, Summit doesn't have it. So they all kind of awkwardly group up around it as they considered trying to fight over this, but T1 are taking it very slow. Methodical is a better way to describe it. They're not rushing into, getting pummeled inside the pit or anything. They're trying to slow push mid, get their lanes in order, and say, if you want to fight us, come at us.
Now, remember Valdez, unless G-Sun gave us the wrong script here, this isn't supposed to happen.
Okay. Maybe they're going off script.
Oh, Kana is about to go off script.
All right, he's got the angle. He has the ultimate.
Dragon can't decide what it wants to do.
Dragon's a little bit unhappy as it is going to be the smite going the way of Cuz. And will there be a killer suplex on top of the entire team as T1 are demolishing them here? Will they get the ace is the real question. They're chasing them down. That's going to be 3 for 0 now. As in goes Teddy, that'll be 4. And Lee Sin just a little bit too hard to lock down. Otherwise, it would have been 5. T1 get the Drake. They get all the kills. And they're in an awesome place in this game now.
They're in a fantastic spot. Now, why they voluntarily opted into this fight is a bit bewildering, given that, as you mentioned, Soraka didn't have Wish available. It's an awful time to fight as well.
Bullet time was also down.
Bullet time, all things considered, there's no reason for SANDBOX to fight this dragon. They have time to scale up, wait another 5.5 minutes, and then try to take another team fight on better footing. And just take a look at this one more time. Actually, bullet time was up here, but still a pretty disadvantageous fight from this angle against T1. Soraka, the key component, not able to do anything, and there's no way to protect her or allow her to get off her healing and control any angles here, as T1 are just so far ahead at the start of this. They blow right through it. Faker able to do so much. Kana, obviously, with a superplex.
The super duper plex.
The super duperplex.
Yeah, he flashed to get into that position. The Mantra Q out of effort slowed a couple of them down, which also got SANDBOX out of position. And I highly agree. I think you just have to let that one go, especially after you've kind of gotten this awkward spot where the enemy has the better positioning on you, and you just have to say, okay, we have to concede this. We have lost the posturing fight, essentially. As well. Onfleek's waiting here, but again, this is level 14 LeBlanc. I don't think she really cares even if the Lee Sin got on top of her. She's just gonna react immediately as if he knew he was there. Olaf's such a good champion.
Yeah.
He runs away so well.
He really does. He is a bit of a runner. You put him in the water, they'd call him Michael Phelps.
Yeah, okay.
That is a lesser known fact, actually.
Just keep kicking his legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, never stops.
This is a very very bizarre series of events here, as Faker, he's letting all the minions die so that Syndra does not get to eat.
Yeah, you know what's weird is that pro players do this all the time. With the
then they won't
turrets.
freeze.
Yeah, with the turrets, they do it all the time. They're like, oh, no.
They understand how valuable this is when utilizing a turret, but apparently when you have to use your own minions to do it, that's where
Yeah, no, it's the
where it
disconnect.
falls apart,
The
yeah.
disconnect, yeah. Got a little trade up in the top side. Now, I mentioned this before the draft even started. LeBlanc is 8-0. Faker is 3-0 on LeBlanc. Why not just ban it? They banned away Rek'Sai, and yeah, I know everybody's terrified of Cuz's Rek'Sai. But this, I mean, we're seeing it again. Were they not watching Wednesday, or did they really feel like they could handle it?
Well, they came in with a counter pick, but obviously Dove wasn't able to do anything. And also, the initial opening in the game, Dove was basically playing 1v2.
True.
On Fleek just set so far behind. Now, I want to actually talk about one of the itemizations here out of Kana. Typically, Titanic Hydra is actually a pretty bad item on set. But the reason it's so good here is because you get Titanic Hydra and then you get Executioner's Calling, and the AoE inside of teamfights applies the Grievous Wound debuff, which is super effective against Soraka, Yuumi, and other massive healing. Yeah, it's really good. So when Yuumi or Soraka is in the team, or even other heal-based champions, if they have an overwhelming or obscene amount of healing, doing this combo on set is really valuable. But Soraka wouldn't be present. No need to go Titanic Hydra, because you don't need that kind of a combo.
Yeah. You know, I think we are setting records tonight, LS. I think this is the first time you've liked 3 items in a row from one player. I think Kana is now your dedicated favorite player. After this game, he's just done so many things in a row right in your mind.
Well,
and so
if you take a look at Kana's name and you add a little space in between the two N's, Can NA, yeah.
Can they what?
Can NA.
He didn't finish the question.
NA is the best performing region in the world right now, Baldock.
Oh, sorry.
Cloud9 is undefeated.
I've heard about that team. Yeah. Fog 8 or something. I don't know. Anyway, they're trying to get in here onto this Mountain Soul, and again, T1 are just so patient. They're looking for the poke before the fight. They're separating the enemy team, forcing them to get out of position. They don't desperately try to all pile in on the Drake and say, we're ahead, we can do whatever we want. They're playing this out so well. Just, it's really nice to watch. T1 are really shaping up as a team the more I watch them.
Yeah.
As now Kana looking for the flank. There's no vision in the jungle, but the enemy team is going to back away anyway.
Mountain Soul is going to go the way of T1, so this game is pretty much all over. I really do think this is all that she wrote for SANDBOX. The opening was a complete mess. It's set behind so many of the lanes, and even though they sort of stabilized and weren't that far behind, they then just slowly kept bleeding out ever so slightly, and then they took that horrendous dragon fight.
You can see that actually mirrored in the goal difference over time. Slowly bleeds into one massive spike, which is the dragon fight.
And T1 might just wait until they get Baron in order to end this game. Set didn't actually pick up Executioners, opted for a Chain Vest.
Uh-oh. He was 3 for 3 and then this happened.
He was really close. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's Teddy's Ezreal. At this point, he can kind of do whatever he wants. TP comes in as Leo runs away as fast as he possibly can. Sprints away.
Well, maybe Baron isn't even necessary. There's just so much poke.
They're just throwing out random abilities at everybody. Figure uses Q on Fleek and then R on Dove, and then he throws out a chain, and there's Qs coming from the left, and Cuz threatening from the bottom as Kana's split pushing in the mid lane. It's like a well-oiled machine.
And Kana being repelled back here in mid. T1 almost up 10,000 gold here at 26 minutes. And honestly, aside from that 4 kills that happened at Mountain, there's been nothing.
Yeah.
This is actually a graveyard. It is so quiet.
It's only been 4 kills, but it's felt so much more one-sided than just what the 4-0 in kills would have you imagine.
All right, well, it's just a slow and steady bleed right now. The bottom wave coming in from T1 as well, slowly making its way over. They don't have Baron buff. They're not going to need it. I don't think, not with this Mountain Soul that just keeps replenishing.
And actually, T1 are really close to pulling off a perfect game as Summit is going to be pushed away. Double redemption is kind of fun. Oh, nice death sentence on a Faker. It doesn't matter, though. He's a LeBlanc. He's super fed. Teddy is just he's arcane shifting behind the turret. He just doesn't care at all, especially with the Mountain Soul. He's just like a super tanky Teddy.
It's going to be 2 Mountain Souls, or sorry, 2 inhibitors with the Mountain Soul, and what's likely going to be a reset into a Baron capture, and then a game-ending push. And so, if you're SANDBOX right now, the only thing that you can hope for is some sort of a miracle team fight. As Dove has... He's written his name in the Forbidden Book. He picked up a Morello.
Yeah, I don't... What is the reason for that?
I'm not... You know what, Valdez? Don't ask
It's
questions.
like, maybe I can help my team lose faster by... you know, if I can hit my own team, maybe I can deny their healing. And in a way, he is by building that item. And they're going to just stick around here at the Baron.
And here we go, T1 now just going to start this up. Stone Plate completed on Kana. So, still very surprised that he did not get the Executioners. But, like you said, this is looking very close to a perfect game.
Oh, he nearly got that with the Q, actually. They were waiting and ready to stop DPS, though. T1, thinking of everything, are going to shut down that play. Chain goes wide.
Faker missed the chain there, so might be time to hang up the LeBlanc, maybe.
Yeah. I don't want to see this anymore. This is just a disaster. He hasn't gotten a kill yet. He's 0-0-4. Him and Effort, same. And just how clean is this game going to end? I mean, it's 4-0 now.
I mean, the way I look at it, though, is On Fleek just has a perfect KDA.
True. Very true. I am a truer. They're just pushing in. SANDBOX on their last legs here, in their last fort, waiting to be scourged here as On Fleek looking for it. He just immediately gets QSS arcane shifted in his face, as it was a really nice play by On Fleek, but he just made it look silly. As Faker is not going to go down. There's your perfect game, 5-0. Just like that, T1 ripped this game out of their hands, and they look super happy with a game that clean. How can you not be satisfied?
That was absolutely the most sterile game
Yeah,
of League of Legends.
absolutely. 5 kills.
I'm trying to think who to give the MVP to, and I think there's an argument to be had between Teddy and Faker, mostly because Teddy did so much poke and just damage, as well as just his lane kingdom down in bottom, accompanied by Effort.
Yeah.
With the CS, because it's
hard.
Very hard to give an MVP in this kind of a game, because I feel like...
I'm gonna give it to Kana.
You've defected.
Yeah. We didn't talk about this. I'm an independent voter now. We're not part of the same national party.
What do they pay you? What do they?
Sorry, I've moved over to the other side.
All right, well.
No, I mean, he had a great engage. And he won lane against Soraka. There's not much else to go on here, right? There's like, there was one team fight.
I'm gonna give it to Teddy.
Okay.
I
enough.
think there's an argument to be had for all three of them.
Yeah, there is.
But no, there's a chance Cuz is gonna get it.
Effort, man. Effort was the best. Yeah, we've been learning that we oftentimes have very different viewpoints from the Korean side of things. As at the end of the last one when Doran got it, I mean, that was a bit of a stomp, so it's hard. But again, here it was a even bigger stomp.
This
So,
is the fourth
harder.
perfect game in Spring 2020?
I thought it was only the third or the second.
Oh, it might be third. Might be third. No,
Maybe
well,
it's
it's
third.
definitely not second.
Okay.
It's not second.
Okay.
They were, yeah. So
I mean, you've casted a lot more games than I have in, you know.
this is very unusual, by the way. This amount of perfect games in such a short time span is absolutely not normal.
Yeah.
And this is a byproduct of a lot of the worrying trends that people have for Korea as a region. And so T1 with a phenomenal game, but at the same time, you do have to look at it and wonder, well, what is sort of going on for this to end up actually happening? And
Yeah, I mean, but again, in the draft, I mean, T1's draft wasn't pristine or anything like that. They drafted
no, they
into
just
counter picks.
individually
Yeah.
destroyed them, especially after that start.
It was all just about individual performance and
Yeah.
team performance as well. I mean, God, they were just so clean as a team. Their team fights, their decision makings, everything. T1 looking like the strong opponents here. We'll see what they do after the break.
웨이브 너무 끝나겠다.
웨이브 하자. 이거 바로 가자 그냥.
거의 끝났어. 나 이즈만 실드 봐줄게. 야 리즈 노플 리즈 노플.
이제 잡을 거.
다음 거.
한타 안 봐도 돼. 안 봐도 돼.
안 봐도 돼. 신박이야.
안 봐도 된다.
쓰레쉬 노플.
자, 페퍼티 퍼펙트 게임 하자. 빼.
아, 나